welcome back from break. I hope you're ready to jump into our next module because our second module of the day is all about working with Dynamics 365 marketing. This is a marketing application that can help you take your prospective relationships and turn them into business relationships. But before we get into all of the cool tools that Dynamics 365 offers, I actually want to review the basics of marketing. Now, when you are building out your marketing strategy, your goal is to appeal to one of three expectations that your buyers have. Why are they buying your product? Or why should they buy your product? Is it something that they need in their lives? And I'm not talking about needs like the way that you need chocolate, but the way that you need shelter and you need food. Or, maybe it's something that they want. This is that desire for chocolate. I don't need chocolate for basic survival, but it's still something that I crave. And then, the last one is demands. And this is caused when your consumers are buying the product so much that it makes others want it. And this can actually create a shortage or something that's perceived as a shortage. Now, no matter what the motivation is for your customers, you're going to need to be able to identify the right market and get your product or service in front of them. And that's where Dynamics 365 marketing comes in. It can help you identify who your prospects are and turn them into business relationships. And when we break down business, it really all comes down to relationships. Think about it for a second. If you're looking for a place to eat, are you more likely to go to a place that your friend recommended or a random place that you know nothing about? You're probably going to choose the restaurant that your friend recommends because you trust them. So when it comes to marketing inside of Dynamics, you can build out campaigns to target the right audience based on their location, their preferences, or even mutual connections. And these are just a couple of the different capabilities inside of the system. Now, if you aren't a marketing professional, you may not be familiar with this process or even were aware of how much went on behind the scenes. So I actually want to break down some key terminology when it comes to marketing that, I think might be helpful when it comes to building out your first campaign in Dynamics 365. I have all of these terms listed on the screen for you. But remember, all of these can also be found at the learning path at aka.ms/mv910. Okay, so first, what we have is marketing automation. This is a software, in this case, we're talking about Dynamics 365, that can automate the tasks that your marketing team are responsible for. And these tasks are what make up your marketing operations. For example, how can you make sure that your customers are hearing the right message at the right time? Well, one of those ways is by creating a marketing campaign. You can promote your products through print ads or TV ads. You can also use digital marketing that leverages social media and email campaigns. And if you wanted to, you could host or sponsor an event to drive extra interest that, all of these are different marketing approaches that you have the option to take. Now, it doesn't matter what type of marketing campaign you select, you're going to want to track the progress. And oftentimes what we see with the organization is they're going to have set KPIs or key performance indicators to help set goals and track progress of all of those goals. And this is extremely helpful if you're engaging in any type of product marketing where you are focused on launching a specific product in the market. Now, one of the ways that you can ensure success when it comes to product launches is by making sure that you are positioned correctly in the consumer's mind. Think about it. Do they consider your product high end, low end, somewhere in the middle? Brand positioning is how you rank compared to your competitors. And some of that comes from brand awareness. Do you have a logo or a tagline that's easily recognizable? I bet you right now, you could think of some sort of jingle for a product that you know, or maybe it's a logo that you'd recognize anywhere. All of that, that's what brand awareness is. So once you have your brand and you've established where it is in the customer's mind, you can begin the customer journey from lead nurturing all the way through. Now, a lead is usually the first step in the customer journey. This is where you are taking a minor interest in your product and you're building it into an established relationship. This is usually done through some type of customized or targeted engagement. And that's what the customer journey is. You're starting from the very first interaction and focus on leading them through, ultimately, to a sale. And, you can find leads anywhere. You could create a landing page, for example, to just collect general interest, in a form. Or you can segment out your customer base to target a very specific type of customer based off of a specific characteristic. But really, no matter where you're getting your leads from, it's important to know which ones are most likely to convert into an order. And some organizations use lead scoring. That way they're ranking the leads based off of their viability to a sell. Now, I know this is a lot. And it's a lot, especially if this isn't something that you do on a regular basis. However, if you are planning on taking the exam, I would really recommend that you familiarize yourself with some of these different terms. But the good news is, when we look at all of these different tasks that happen in marketing, Dynamics 365 can help you manage a lot of these. And so whether it's working with your customers or designing a campaign that's going to put your product in front of the right audience, Dynamics can help you with your efforts. In Module 1, we learned that customers are the folks who are buying your products or service. This is who you are targeting for your marketing efforts. And there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can send out marketing emails, or maybe you're leveraging social media to reach your customers. You could even build out a custom customer journey that creates a path depending on what action the customer takes that's really going to encourage a sale. And as your customers interact with your marketing efforts and they're expressing interest, they can be converted into sales leads. And Dynamics 365 can actually score each lead based on these different interactions, like opening an email or visiting a web page, and it can determine whether or not if that lead is likely to make a purchase. But, when we look at a lot of the different marketing efforts that we have out in the world today, more and more of them are internet-based. And a lot of times, your customers are going to be introduced to your products through some sort of web page. And what's nice is Dynamics 365 makes it really easy for you to collect information on your customers and then leverage that information to really expand your overall marketing strategy. But, kind of when we really get down into it, Dynamics 365 marketing is going to allow you to create a tailored marketing content that's going to highlight your organization's branding and marketing position. So it helps you put the right content in front of the right people all through these different targeted customer journeys. And that is what's going to help turn these leads into customers. And what I want to do today, is I want to show you all the different tools inside of Dynamics Marketing that can help your organization make better decisions to get to the sale faster. And we know when it comes to, some of those key tasks around creating effective marketing campaigns, you need to be able to identify leads. You need to be able to break down those leads. And when you break them down, you need to break them into segments to help curate marketing materials for them. And, whether it's through a variety of different marketing techniques, your goal is to turn that lead into the sale. And an extremely important part of any marketing campaign is making sure that you are targeting the consumers who are going to benefit most from your product or your service. And you know what? You could design the most amazing marketing campaign, but if you're not getting it in front of the right audience, it's kind of a waste. Because that, is one of the first and most important decisions that you need to make when designing a marketing piece. You need to be able to choose the correct audience. And once you understand your audience, well, then you can tailor your messaging and, you tailor your marketing approach to appeal to that specific group of people. And you can choose to segment your audience on a few different factors. Let's say, for example, if you wanted to segment your audience based off of their physical location, or maybe folks who have visited your website in the last month. But you want to make sure you understand your audience before you build out your campaign. And I'm going to show you in a minute how easy it is to create a customer segment. But, once you have your audience identified, then you build out your different marketing tactics. Now, in today's world, email marketing is probably one of the most common marketing tactics, because not only does it let you reach a large number of customers in a really short amount of time, but it's pretty easy to tailor the message content and provide a personalized experience for each of the customers receiving it. And Dynamics can actually make it really easy for your marketing team to customize those emails. And you can send them out to any contact that you've collected from a landing page or even existing contacts that you already have inside of Dynamics. And when you actually send out the email, you can connect that as part of the customer journey. So as you engage with all these different potential leads through emails or any other marketing initiatives, not all of them are going to respond. Some of them, they might see your organization and they're going to be like, yes, and they'll respond right away with interest. Or, maybe they're not going to be as interested and maybe they don't respond or engage at all. But as all of these different contacts interact with your marketing initiatives, you're going to generate different leads, from this interest level and collect all of that from these different contacts. Now, the interest, when we talk about the interest from each lead, you can actually score these. And this is scored based on how your customers interact with your organization. Dynamics 365 Marketing can calculate a score for each lead based off of demographic details, firmographic details, or actions like opening an email, submitting on a landing page, or even going to your website. And once you have the score, you can actually design segments and customer journeys to engage that high scoring leads with like different targeted messaging or, special offers that kind of nurture their interest. But, why don't we actually log back into Dynamics 365, and I'm going to take you through the process of creating a customer segment. All right, so I'm actually logged in to the marketing app, which is a little bit different than the Sales Hub app, which we were using earlier. Now, it's a similar feel, and you can see I still have customers, but I'm going to go specifically to segments. Now, here are all my active segments, and one of the things, especially as you start to use Dynamics more, you're going to notice that the menus are going to kind of have that same experience. So once you learn how to navigate one app, it's pretty easy to learn the others. But I'm going to create a new segment, and I'm going to create a new Dynamics segment. And when I go to create a new segment, it is going to first give me the option for templates. And you can see we have some basic templates already set up, like, an interaction, did they join an event, is it their birthday, today or in the next 5 days. So if you wanted to send out any happy birthday notes, you can do that. But I am going to skip using any of these templates. I'm actually going to create my own. Now, one of the first things that I need to do is I need to add a query block. And essentially, this is going to run a query or look for that filter, basically, against my contacts. So first I need an attribute. Let's do city in this case. So I'm going to select city, and then I'm going to say that the city is, in this case, Bellevue. All right. Once I have that, I can name my segment. And so we are going to name this segment, we'll call it Bellevue Contacts. All right. And then I can select save. Now, if I wanted to, I can actually publish this segment. Now, when I publish this segment, my segment will go live. Now, it does take a minute or so for it to publish and basically be available as a segment that I can use. And so you can see that there's little changes happening. It shows me as live, and that I have one member added into this segment. What's nice is that as I have more contacts who are added into Bellevue or they're located in Bellevue, they're going to be automatically added into the segment. So if I send out any Bellevue specific marketing material, it's going to go directly to these contacts, and I don't have to rerun that multiple times. So now that we've defined who we are going to market to, we can actually start to build out the rest of the customer journey. And if you remember from that slide of marketing terms, the customer journey is the path that your customers or potential customers take as they interact with your marketing process. Now, the main goal of the customer journey is to take that customer interest, the lead, and ultimately convert it into a sale that leads to revenue. You can see here on the screen though, we have an extremely simple customer journey. What we have is that potential customer is opening some type of an email, and that email has links to different product pages. Depending on what product the customer clicks, they're going to be redirected to a landing page where they could request additional information. They're going to provide information that, we can then use to customize additional marketing material, or maybe they're giving us a phone number for a sales rep to follow up on. And hopefully that sales rep is going to then make a sale. And ta-da, you've completed the customer journey. And so when you start to build out the customer journey inside of Dynamics 365, you're going to need a couple different pieces of information. Who is your target customer? This is usually defined through that customer segment. And then you'll need to know what type of marketing activities that you're going to want to build into the journey. Now, you absolutely can keep this pretty simple. We saw a real basic one just now. But if you want, you can build out a pretty dynamic journey. What I want you to do is kind of think of a journey as a series of actions with like if-then statements. So if an email is open, then send them a newsletter. But if the email isn't open, send them a brochure. It's completely up to you. And the whole process is relatively easy to build out in Dynamics. I actually want to show you how that works. So we are still in the marketing app, and using that navigation bar, if you scroll down under marketing execution, you can see customer journeys. These are all the journeys that I've already created, but let's go ahead and create a new one. I'm going to select new. And it's going to pull up different templates. Again, very similar to what we saw in the segments. We're going to skip, and we're going to actually create our own. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to set an audience. So what we're going to do is we'll click this add button. And this is where if I wanted to, I could actually pull in that segment. So let's actually select the segment, and I want the segment, and I'm going to look for the segment Bellevue contacts. All right, so this is now showing me that this starts when someone is, added or is part of the Bellevue contact. All right, and we can see that this is live. And now what I can do is I can actually now select more steps. You're really not limited on how many steps in a journey that you can have. So I'm going to add a tile, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select send an email. Now, if I wanted to, I can look for a new marketing email. And let's just say, for example, I'm going to use a template in this case. So why don't we actually, this one looks pretty. So let's use this template. So I'm going to select this template. And you can see here, this is where if I wanted to do any other type of customizations, you can see it's kind of almost like a drag and drop designer. But I'm going to go ahead and select save. And then we'll close out the email editor. So now what I can do is I have my email. We can see my email details that it is active. And then if I wanted to change any email elements, I can. if I wanted to have any dependencies or if I wanted to send it out on a schedule, what day of the week do I want to send it on? You can see that you have a lot of customization when it comes to building out those different tasks in the journey. So if I wanted to, now I can actually add a little bit more information on the customer journey itself, give it a name. So I'm going to select General. And we are going to give it a name. So I'm going to name this Bellevue Customers. And then you can see I have my owner, I can see that I'm targeting a contact. I have my start time and my end time for this. And then if I wanted to adjust any time zones. So let's say, for example, that Bellevue is in Pacific. So and I'll just select Pacific here. Once we're there, I can go ahead and just select Save. And once it's saved, I can go ahead and select Go Live. So now that it's getting set up, it's still in draft. It's going to take a little bit to go live, but once we hit the dates that we set up our customer journey for, then that email will get sent out to everybody who is in the Bellevue customer segment. As you can see, customer journeys are a key component in Dynamics 365 marketing. You are pretty much always going to create a customer journey, for really any marketing effort, because it's going to help you guide the path that a customer takes while interacting with your organization's marketing process. But you might be saying, well, Chelsea, this is great and all, but where am I supposed to get all these prospects from? Well, don't you worry, my friends. Dynamics 365 makes it easy for your marketing team to host large-scale events to find leads or show off the latest products to some of your existing customers. And when it comes to creating events inside of Dynamics Marketing, you can actually create a single event record that's going to keep all of your planning details in one single location. And this event record has a timeline to help your team, through each step of the planning process. So let's say, for example, if you need to make arrangements for speakers or individual sessions or event registration, your marketing team will have control of every single detail from planning, budgeting, to promotion, and finally the publication and the registration and all of the events analytics. And what this does is this allows your marketing team to design events that support your organization goals and attract the right audience. Again, the entire goal at the end of the day is to generate revenue. We are actually at our last section of this module. And so far, we've explored how Dynamics 365 provides organizations with a solid foundation and different tools to create customer journeys and nurture relationships with your prospects to turn them into customers. And this is great, but sometimes you need a little bit more help to convert those leads into sales. And that's actually why I want to explore some of the other marketing apps that can integrate with Dynamics 365 marketing to help extend your marketing capabilities. So let's say, for example, you want your organization to create a more targeted customer segment, maybe based on past buying patterns or your customers' interests or brand preferences. This information isn't really something that's typically available in Dynamics 365 marketing, but you could potentially pull that information from another application. So another area that's really important to customers and your marketing team is the customer engagement. Now, the more you engage with customers, the more you understand who they are. And one of the easiest ways to do this is through targeted surveys. For example, you might want to include a link to a product survey in a marketing email that you send out to your customers. And as customers complete the survey, they tell you what products they're interested in. And that can easily be added into segments. And that way you're targeting those products to those customers. And we have so many different products that can integrate with Dynamics 365 marketing to help expand its capabilities. And so what we'll be doing is we're going to be looking at 3 different ones today. We have the LinkedIn Campaign Manager, customer voice, and customer insights. So why don't we start with our first tool? This is the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. Now, it's probably likely that you already know about LinkedIn. It's the world's largest online professional network. Both individuals and organizations use LinkedIn to build relationships or hire great talent. The LinkedIn Campaign Manager is a marketing add-on that can help your organization build and market to customers based on what's important to them. So you get to define who you're going to target by creating what we call campaign groups. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to create a campaign group for customers in a specific region, like the United States, you could create a brand awareness campaign and add up to 1,000 different ad campaigns to that single campaign group. And once you have your campaign set up, you can create a budget, you can create a schedule, and that way you're meeting your goals as well as tracking any interaction from conversations, basically from anyone who sees that ad. Now, I really like the Campaign Manager because it allows me to schedule a post and basically import leads right into Dynamics 365 Marketing. And then guess what we're going to create? Customer journeys. And I'm syncing that with the lead gen form. But while LinkedIn can help you target new audience, you have a whole network of professionals and organizations. There's actually another tool that can help you gather feedback from your existing customers. And here's the thing. Customer feedback is really the underlying driver of how businesses conduct business. So when you capture customer feedback, this can have a huge impact when you're combining it with your marketing efforts. For example, let's say you were to embed a survey into a marketing email. You could capture more details about the customer, such as their product interests. And based off of that customer response and all the different demographic information that you have, you could create a really targeted customer segment that you could then use in customer journeys. And Dynamics 365 Customer Voice, well, it's a feedback management tool that allows you to easily collect feedback and interpret the metrics in a way that can help drive those decisions in the business. And it's really easy to do through pre-created customizable templates that you can collect, feedback from across a number of different channels. And so when you are building out these surveys inside of Customer Voice, you can directly access them from the marketing components inside of Dynamics. So when you're in the segment builder, the email designer, the customer journey designer, you have access to it. And by making this information available inside of Dynamics 365, you can use all these surveys to make data-driven decisions and make adjustments to your marketing campaigns as needed. And while it is great to capture feedback, sometimes you're going to want data in the moment, right now, not necessarily after. Because remember, sales is all about relationships and the relationships you have with your customers. So you're going to want to make sure that every experience your customers have with your brand or with your organization is positive and it's meaningful. And the better you understand who your customers are, the easier it is to provide a more personalized customer experience. And Dynamics 365 Customer Insights is a customer data platform that helps you gain a better understanding of your customers. And the way it does this is by collecting all the data from different platforms in your organization. So this has like transactional data, behavioral data, observational data, and it's using all of this to create a 360-degree view of your customers. So once you have that customer profile, you can track data across all these different demographics, and you can identify trends based on key data that you're wanting to track. And you use this data and take action. So if you're marketing to customers, or you're improving the sales lifecycle, or increasing overall customer satisfaction. And Customer Insights inside of Dynamics, we actually have two different baseline applications. First, what we have is the Engagement Insights, which really helps you better understand how customers are engaging with your organization's websites. So you can connect to things like your retail site or your company portals, and you can start to see how those users are engaging with you. And, you might want to know what operating systems and what devices are they using? Where are they coming from? What pages are they spending the most time with? Who are your partnering domains that are referring these customers to you? Or what percentage of your customers are coming in and what are working and what's not? You get all of this data. And it really helps you understand and develop engagement strategies for how to be better at marketing and driving people to your website. It also might help you understand how your website should be structured in order to keep people there longer and maybe spend more money. That way, you understand what's the best course for your organization. And the last one that we have, the last tool I want to talk about, is our audience insights. This allows us to consolidate information from all our different transactional behavior and demographic information into a single customer resource. And the thing is, with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, it's just a data collection repository. The purpose is to give you the information that you truly need to understand, who your customers are. And with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, you have everything you need to consolidate that information, build segments based on who those customers are, and customize these scoring models and brand affinities that bring all of this information, together, and Dynamics 365 is allowing you to use it and ultimately move forward. But as you can see, by all of the different tools we look at, they complement the core marketing responsibilities. And when you combine Dynamics 365 marketing with different features like LinkedIn, Campaign Manager, Customer Voice, or Customer Insights, you're creating a really powerful marketing solution that's actually based off of proven techniques and ways to target different customers. So once you have your leads, you can actually hand them off to your sales team. And that's what we're going to be covering in our last module of the day. But how about this? Before we dig into Dynamics 365 sales, let's go ahead and take one more 10-minute break and we'll start our final module of the day. So go grab a drink, do some stretches because we still have some work to do. I'll see you back here soon.